What's up, everybody? It's Josh Ellsworth with Stahls, and welcome to the Heat Press for Profit podcast. We are broadcasting live here on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and more. If you are watching with us live, make sure you shout out who you are and where you're watching from. If you are listening anywhere you listen to podcasts, that's great. Make sure you subscribe to the show where we launch a new episode every week. And so this podcast is designed to have conversations with apparel decorators just like you and industry experts that can have an impact on your business. And so I am excited to say that today we have Erik Batewell of Your Sport Custom Apparel. He is the owner there, and we have a conversation teed up for you to learn a little bit more about his business, how he is succeeding, and specifically with his experience with team stores, of which he is very successful. So I'm so excited to see everybody today. Again, make sure you shout out who you are, where you're watching from, and say hello. Feel free to ask your questions live. It always creates a more interesting show. And without further ado, let's go ahead and welcome in Erik. Erik, how's it going today?
What's going on, Josh? How are you?
Awesome. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, man. Excited.
Yeah, we've been super excited to have you on here. I know this has been the planning stages for several weeks now, and we've traded some notes and some conversations back and forth. But I guess as people are logging on and starting to type in hello and their questions, just give us a little background on your experience in the industry and the history of Your Sport Custom Apparel.
Absolutely. So I'm going on my 21st year in the industry. My dad started the business in 1990 in our basement, sharpening ice hockey skates. And within a year, the basement had a screen printing and a heat press and an embroidery machine. And we're hockey people. So it's, that's where it started. This year will be 31 years or 33 years. It's 2023, 33 years in the business. My dad retired in 2017. That's when I bought the business. I actually sent him to early retirement.
Awesome. And that was probably one of his goals anyways, right?
Absolutely. Little did he know, though, his free time was being filled with grandpa duties, though. So
yeah, so he's semi-retired, they say, right?
Correct. Just making a lot less, that's all.
Awesome. Well, I know we have people that watch from all over the country and all over the world. You're a hockey company, right? That's where you started, and you said you were sharpening skates and doing those things. So tell us, what part of the country is your business based in?
So we're in Central Valley, New York. It's in Orange County, about an hour north of New York City. We're about 10 miles from the United States Military Academy at West Point. So we do a lot of work with those guys up there. Nice and cold over here today. Hello to everybody out there where it's nice and warm.
Yeah, so I don't know what the temperature's like, but we have Anthony checking in and saying hello from the UK. I know that Hawaii is probably a little nicer than where we're at here in the Northeast today. Branson, Missouri, good to see you. Hello from Ohio, and also some folks tuning in from New Mexico. So good to have everybody. Thanks for joining us live, and feel free to ask your questions throughout the show. We are certainly excited to see everybody with us today. So just to level set. So you took over the business, you said about 7 years ago?
Yeah, 2017.
Okay. And were you working in the business before you took it over, or did you come in cold?
No, I've been working for my father in the business since 2003.
Got it. So you grew up kind of in the business, learning the business since 2003.
Yeah.
I guess how did your job change from working in the business since 2003 since running the business over the last 6-7 years? Did anything functionally change the way you approach the business and the work?
Sure, absolutely. I got to look at the bigger picture, not just the what do I have to do today to get out of here by 5 o'clock and go enjoy myself. Right now, I got to look at the bigger picture and plan things and schedule things out. And stress. We added a lot of stress to the plate, but well worth it.
Yeah. So you're enjoying yourself, and I know you've been quite successful. And one of the areas of success for you has not only been in heat printing as a decoration technology, but really leveraging team stores and pulling in e-commerce business. How long have you been doing team stores?
So we started doing team stores in April of 2017, just after we went to the Atlantic City Impression Show.
Okay. And so that was really a decision you had made since you took over ownership of the business, that this is something we need to invest and grow in.
Yeah, I mean, at the time, I didn't really know that it existed. We were still making paper order forms and hoping coaches could collect checks and like worry about that on the side. And honestly, we were looking for a new sublimation printer for jerseys, for hockey jerseys in Atlantic City, and there was a young lady at a booth kind of like off in the corner. I didn't really understand what the booth was. And by the time we were done talking to her, we had signed a contract and we're off and running.
Okay, that's awesome. And that team store company that you're working with is Order My Gear. Is that accurate?
Yeah, Order My Gear.
All right, started with them, been with them ever since, and it's been successful for you.
Yeah, it's been awesome. The first store itself paid off the licensing fee that we had to pay for.
Okay, awesome. That's great to hear. And I love this. And that's something at Stahls we noticed as well, is that customers that were using team stores, so to speak, and they can be corporate stores or a lot of different things, seem to grow at a faster rate than those customers who were not. And that is one of the reasons that we developed our Spirit Sale team store platform. It's actually not something that we ever set out and said we're a software company. We said we are a company that powers heat printers to grow, and we need everybody to be able to access team store technology. So just so we don't leave anybody behind, like how can you best define team stores and what they are for those that may have no clue what we're even talking about?
So for us, most of the stuff, we do some corporate stores that are open year round, but most of our stuff are pop-up. So we work with local schools or hockey organizations, and it's like, hey, new season starts in September. We want to get our people outfitted. Sometimes we build fundraising in, sometimes we don't. It's really up to the customer. But it allows us to offer the customers things that they don't normally get, because the organization typically would have to buy sweatshirts, buy t-shirts, and hope to sell all the smalls and the mediums and hope they got the sizing right. And then there's no personalization in there. With us, we've found that it's easier to get in front of people. Everybody has a phone in their hands these days. Order My Gear's platform is mobile friendly. So it's just a quick link to them, and then they can use their credit card. It's much easier than having to send a check or cash with the kid to practice and hoping not to forget it.
Yeah, and so I know that's kind of what you led with, is like getting rid of the paper forms, which simplifies it for the coach, the HR director, the school office, whoever the client is that you're working with. Nobody really wants to handle the paper in this day and age, correct?
No, not at all. And honestly, nobody wants to handle the work. The coach wants to coach. The athletic director wants to direct. The parents want to do their fundraising and their things and their parties and stuff. So for us, it's simple. It's, hey, people come in they want to place a bulk order. We push them in the direction of the team store because it allows us to do what we're good at. You guys don't have to. All we ask of them is to remind their people the store exists and it closes on this date. Everything else we will handle from soup to nuts.
That's awesome. And a team store is their exclusive webpage. Like it's the shopping experience for that team or that school, and you build one per team and per school, correct?
Correct. And we customize it with whether they have their own YouTube channel. Sometimes we'll put videos and put them on the header bar on the website. Just try to customize as much as possible so that it doesn't look like it was put together in 2 seconds.
Okay. And based on the business that you're doing, like how many of your customers are leveraging team stores as a part of what you're offering them? Majority?
In the youth sports section, I would say 90% of them are.
Okay, that's a lot.
It just makes sense. I mean, there's a lot of groups. Like we just did an order the other day. It ended up only being 2 orders for 12 pieces of $300 order, but with no minimums on Ultra Color. Now there was no fear of burning a 3-color screen for all these pieces. We just ordered the 12 pieces we need, produced the job, separated it, and sent it out. Because to me, at the end of the day, doing the store just allows us the opportunity to put our product and the quality that we're offering in front of more people that wouldn't normally see who we are.
Because it can be shared out through a link and shopped online.
Correct, absolutely. And we try to brand everything that leaves the building specifically for those online stores. Everything we have gets a tag. Everything's in branded boxes. They get emailed through the process through Order My Gear. There's an email all customers click link that like, hey, your store just closed. All your orders are being processed. Hey, all the products starting to arrive in the building. Get excited. We'll send a picture in those emails that, hey, look, screen printing's taking place. You're only a few more days away. And then they get an email with tracking, and it just kind of keep them in the loop. So there, because one guy orders on the first day the store's open. If it's open for 3 weeks and then it takes us 2 weeks to produce it, he's sitting 5 weeks waiting on his order. It's not Amazon. It's not 48 hours later. So as long as we communicate with them through that process, I find that we haven't had any issues.
in the majority of the stores you're running, it sounds like are the pop-up shop that you referenced earlier, where there is an open date and a close date, and then manufacture begins after the close date. Is that accurate?
Typically, yeah. Like I said, we do a few corporate stores for a few solar companies and a couple home automation companies in Florida that are corporate store that are open year round. But even the ones that want, even like the drama clubs that want to be open year round, we find that the shorter the deadline, the more there's an exclusivity to it, right? Like once the store closes, we're not reopening it, we're not redoing this. Everything's going to change moving forward. So there's this demand for them to get in now, and I have found that volume has gone up significantly across the board.
Nice. I love that. And like, if like, just to relate that personally, like when you have a date that you know you need to hit, whether that's a birthday or an anniversary or an or Christmas Day or an important moment in time, most people tend to get things done by the date, right? Where it's just left open-ended, there's no sense of urgency to get it done. And so by having these close date, you're really playing into the buyer behavior and putting them on a deadline to move to a yes/no decision, which I think is pretty compelling. Now, what I would like to offer, and we're going to bring in some questions here, we have some coming in here in a moment, is if you are one of those shops that's doing always open stores, like Erik had mentioned he's doing for a few select clients, you can also drive that sense of urgency through price offers or through product timing. And so maybe you have a shirt of the month that's no longer available after a certain date. So that idea of creating some element of exclusivity, but also some element of timing is really critical to success with any type of e-commerce, especially team stores. So I know you've mentioned it a little bit, but I'll bring in the question here coming in from Ed Williams from YouTube. Is it only for teams? But you mentioned a couple other client types.
Yeah, no, we do. Like I said, we do a couple home automation and some solar companies at their company store, but we just did jackets for nurses in a local hospital. We did the health office. We've done teachers. We've done PTAs, drama clubs. Honestly, anyone who comes in looking to order in bulk and is hoping to hit all their people with the right sizes, we just turn them towards the store because it just makes sense. They only wanted t-shirts for their drama club, but now no cost out of my pocket or theirs, they can also get a sweatshirt or a long sleeve shirt or a women's cut. And I don't have to purchase that till the store closes. So I'm buying exactly what I need and I'm not sitting on any extra product.
Yeah, and I think the approach to product assortment, as you're mentioning there, is really critical. So I'm going to pull up, I have a couple different images I want to share in today's presentation for those watching online. For those that are listening, we'll explain what the images are on the screen. But you sent me this image, which looks to be a brochure that you put out. But let's focus first on the product assortment that's across this store for Clarkstown Hockey, I believe.
So when I set up a store, typically the way we set it up is 3 logos, 2 full-size logos, and then something that goes on the pants, shorts, and bags. In the past, we embroidered all of that stuff. I couldn't tell you the last time any of it hit the embroidery department or screen printing in the pants or shorts or bags. It's all ultra color now. And honestly, we also set up the artwork on these orders so that if something is back ordered and comes in later, it's easier to do and we don't have to reset the whole job up, so we can cut it in HTV. But we try to typically offer a standard t-shirt, a higher end t-shirt, some form of athletic material or cut shirt, and then the same thing in the long sleeve and the sweatshirt. But I will tell you, in offering all of these products across all of these stores, including we do Ramsey Hockey, which is in Bergen County, New Jersey, one of the most expensive zip codes in America, the highest selling items are the Gildan t-shirt and the Gildan sweatshirt, because they just come in at the best price point for people.
Yeah, so that's the top left of the screen, the Gildan Dry Blend, which is a 50/50 cotton poly t-shirt. That's one of your best sellers because of the price point. And what was the other item?
The 18500. So the Gildan sweatshirt, the standard Gildan 9 ounce. I think it's down a little further. Yeah, there you go, right there. Yep.
The heavy blend, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. And I love that tip. So we're going to lean into a couple SKUs that are going to offer the price point that are going to have the majority of the volume. But for a heat applied decorator, and I'd imagine for any type of decorator, being able to use a few logos at very similar or same sizing and take those across your product assortment in a smart way, like, I love that tip. It's going to save a ton of money and a ton of time in setup.
Oh, absolutely. It was driving me crazy building stores. There was days that I would build 3 stores and have 6 more to build, and it just would just keep going and going. So it finally got to a point where it was like, all right, we do screen printing in house, so let's do 2 logos and just split it across the stuff. The people still have, as you can see, there's still a ton of options for them to choose from on that flyer in that store. But there's not so many logos. It's not fanatics.com or Shop NHL or Shop NFL where there's 500 logos for the Patriots. We just stick to 1 or 2 that are different, use those this time, and then we just know in the future, like I have a catalog of them all. So this way I don't use this. I've had one store has been running 2 times a year since 2017. Sometimes I get lost on what to do for logo ideas.
Yeah, and so are you handling the creative process? Does the client come to you and say, hey, I want to launch a team store, I want my brand in it, and then you create the game on or the game day design? Are you creating that from scratch?
Yeah, so for this one specifically, they wanted to, this is for high school hockey, they want to fill the rink, and they have Hawaiian Day, they have blackout and whiteout. So that was actually a bundle package, offered all 3 of them together to the students for like game day purposes to sell out to the student body. And we actually ended up making a separate store just for the students with that. And I think like some pom-poms and some megaphones and things, because they have some pretty big rivalries around here. But no, yeah, typically a customer comes in, here's my logo, here's what I'm looking for. The ones who are super hands-on about it and have a lot of opinions, I find that their stores don't really do as much, or the stuff that they were opinionated on, are the only people who orders it is that person. Right? Like I have Under Armour, and we run the store, we do 40 orders, we do $8,000 in sales, and 1 Under Armour backpack got sold, and it was the lady who came in to have the store set up. And that's what I meant by saying before about that Gildan product. They just, no matter what the people are asking for, when it comes to price in certain windows, it just makes sense, especially for a kid who's growing. If we're not doing things for adults, we're doing things for 10 and 12-year-old kids.
Yeah, that's great, because they're going to size up very regularly, right, as they move, probably even throughout that organization from year to year. And the fact that they know they can come back, get within a certain price point and size up is great. And I love the buying occasion. So thinking about buying occasions in your product setup, whether that's a blackout game, a whiteout game, a Hawaiian theme game, which I'm guessing is the tie-dye shirt, something like that, selling in and creating stuff to think of those buying occasions, and then being able to promote that to your organization. So Kevin has a good question. He says, if we're trying to get into the school market, I know it's a tough market for a lot of decorators to crack. You seem to be pretty well rooted there, either in schools or the sports market. What are some tips you have to get into schools and competing with other decorators in your area?
So I'll be honest, we do mostly youth sports where it's pay to play, not so much in the schools, number one. But the biggest thing for us is that there's several printers and heat pressers and things in the local area. I don't know that any of them are my competition. And I had this talk with somebody in the Heat Press for Profit Facebook group recently. She was saying, I don't want to post my pictures in the group because there's local people to my company in the group, and I don't want them to steal my ideas. And you have to differentiate yourself, right? Everyone can make a logo. Everyone can offer us a good price. What kind of value do you bring? And really, for me, there's so much work out there. Don't just focus your area on schools. What about the schools do you want to do? Do you just want to do football? Do you just want to do soccer? Do you just want to do baseball? Because once you get into that world will open up itself, right? The hockey world's a really small world. And I coach youth hockey, so I have connections in there. But the more people we talk to, the more hockey people continue to come to you, because you become that de facto in the space. You don't just do all youth sports and everything. They know you as the company that does the hockey uniforms and the apparel. But hey, they also could do the basketball stuff and the baseball stuff.
That's a great piece of advice. So maybe get a little bit more specific about what part of the school or what part of sport you are targeting, whether that is specific in the form of hockey, because you have a connection, you understand the space, or even in school, maybe you're the person that wants to specialize in band or something of that nature. So rather than thinking so broadly about it, think a little bit more specifically, and that will probably drive you not only to have cooler product assortment and design work, but better ability to network and get introduced and referred within that world.
Absolutely, without a doubt.
That's great. So this is an age-old question, but I'm going to pull on a screen because I'm sure many people have it. Getting ready to have a website built, what things should be put on a website. I think that we can go through that a little bit, but do you make it so people can upload their own artwork? So if you're building a website for your brand, what are some of the must-haves on there that you would think about?
References, people that speak highly of your business, reviews, images of your work, things that you do, how you stand out and differentiate from people. And yeah, I mean, if you're going to have an artwork uploader or an artwork designer, yeah, you could definitely allow people to upload their artwork. It's going to speed up the process as opposed to just filling out a contact us form and then you got to email them anyway to get them to send you the logo. It can't hurt to have it put up there for sure.
Yeah, any information you can collect in advance on a quote form is great. I will say I've talked to decorators in the past who have tried to embed designers. And then what happens is sometimes the customer can create something or create a lot of somethings, many designs, to your point earlier, Erik, that they think will sell well. And then you got to really say, is this something I can even manufacture on price point or that's going to look good? And so I love positioning yourself as the logo and the brand and the apparel expert as the decorator. You bring the design to the process. Yes, they may have a logo, but then ultimately you bring that logo to life on apparel and through other graphic tees. So I would caution people on embedding a designer on their site unless you have a lot of business rules set out around it, like a customink.com, something like that.
We tried it and failed miserably and took it down quickly.
Well, there you go. So that's I hear that story probably from about 19 out of 20 people I talk to. It's definitely higher than 9 out of 10. Is that usually it's a lot of work and it's not very successful. And then Karen shares some feedback. She said, we just made a quote page that allows them to attach their product for a quote and they get different files, but at least gives us a place to start. And I think that really lends itself perfectly to the advice that Erik was getting. Upload, collect the logos, and then it's a good place to start. So not a lot of back and forth.
Absolutely. You may get the logo and it may be garbage, right? And it's garbage in, garbage out. And it's not something we want to do. No, thank you. We don't do that type of printing.
Yeah. Perfect. So, and I'll share a tip from one of our social media experts, Danielle. She says, have a spot to sign up for your email list. So building that list is great. You know, creating some gated content that your customer may find value in is great. So something in exchange for an email so you can start to build that marketable list. So when you have new product, you have new offer, you have a good way to communicate. All right, awesome. So for those just joining in, we are about halfway, a little more than halfway through our show here with Erik Batewell from Your Sport Custom Apparel. He is the owner there. Business that's been around for 30 plus years. Second generation owner, I take it. That has taken over the business, has invested in team stores, and has really been successful with team stores. And so we're sharing some best tips around that. We're talking about opportunities that have been opened up through heat transfers, specifically Ultracolor Max for his business. And so I want to dive in just a little bit further on that topic. I know that you mentioned perhaps selling only a couple items in a web store. That's not a problem for you to fulfill now.
No, not at all. Because it used to be, we got to design the artwork. So worst case scenario, we can cut Premium Plus or Eco Print or Ultra Weed. Just, God forbid, we got to fulfill one or two, or there's a back ordered item. But now with the Ultracolor Max, there is no problem. I won't order $3 worth of logos or $8 worth of logos to pay one shipping. I'll bundle it with a bunch of orders, but we'll just batch it out and order it and get it in. We just did it yesterday. We did 2 hockey jerseys to match a sublimated jersey because the sublimated jersey takes 6 weeks and the hockey season ends in 4. So we Ultracolor Max the front, the shoulders, stripes, the whole thing.
And I don't know if a photo that I'm going to share on the screen, again, for those listening, we'll explain it. I don't know if Ultracolor Max was on this product, but I really love this bag example. Is this Ultra Max in the top logo placement?
That's Ultracolor Max, and it's Premium Plus down below.
Yeah, and I love this for folks with web stores, just to be unique and different, is we have a multicolor logo that's been applied with a transfer, an Ultracolor Max transfer. But then below that logo on the pouch of the backpack or the sling bag, we have some personalization with a name and a number. So think about mixed media. How did the customer respond to this? Did most of them order with personalization?
Yeah, I mean, on the team stores, specifically when it's for the children, like for the kids, they will, I want to say 80 to 90% of all items are personalized in some capacity. Now, they don't see an image of it beforehand. We make that determination afterwards. Does it go on the sleeve? Does it go on the side of the bag? Does it go on the back of the sweatshirt? We'll decide on that, but 90% of all orders have some form of personalization added to them, and it's an upcharge, so it's a home run.
Yeah, and you and I were talking earlier this week, and you mentioned you don't even tell customers what type of decoration's going on the product. Is that right? Talk about your philosophy there.
So my philosophy is we're the pros, right? So like if I was going to get my house painted, I would let the guy paint my house and just give him an idea on color and what we're thinking for and then stay out of the way. I wouldn't want to be over pushy and kind of, standing over his shoulder the whole time. So I work the same way. We build trust with our customers, and we've been here a long time. We've been doing this, that this is they don't know what they're looking for. They just want a sweatshirt with their logo and their kid's name on it. They just want to be able to wear it around the school or the rink or the shopping center, and they want to be happy. So to me, once the orders come in and we look at the product, then I determine based on quantities. And there was 150 sweatshirts ordered. We're going to screen print those. There was 7 of those higher end sweatshirts ordered. We're going to ultra color max those. Right. So we make the determination. We do the same thing with Flex Style and PVC. Nobody orders hats on a custom team store thinking they're getting a 3D emblem. But when they get it, we get all sorts of emails and thank yous, and this is so cool.
Yeah, I bet. If you think you're getting something basic and then boom, you impress them with something cool and dimensional or that just, meets the mark. I love that. And I bet you if we asked a lot of different people, you'd get a lot of different philosophies. But I do like your analogy to somebody painting your house, because at a certain point when you're going through that, whether that's a construction project, whatever, you get overwhelmed by information, right? Imagine if that painter who has expert knowledge and you trust shares all of that details and creates a decision point at every step. What that does, I think it creates not only complexity, but it creates risk that you just get overwhelmed with choice and it slows down the process, right? And so it ties up everybody's time and it ends up being not the best sales experience.
Correct. And with a lot of these groups and organizations, it's not just one person making the decision. It's, I got to go back to the board and talk to the board at the youth hockey program and see what they said. And there's 9 people on the board and everyone, it's just, so for us, it's here's the flyer, like that flyer that you showed before. That's just a simple click and order my gear. It downloads the flyer with a hyperlink and the QR code on it. That way they can send that right to their people and they have everything they need right there. Yeah, so there's the QR code, and then that link there is live on the top of it. You can actually click that link and it'll send you right to the store.
That's awesome. And you got the store deadline right on the store, so everybody understands. And this is something that can circulate, go home with the athlete, go home in the parent, folder, whatever
Correctly.
it is.
They can print them out and bring them to games on game day. Like, hey, don't forget the store closes, because we close all our stores typically on Sunday nights, because there's no point to closing it on a Friday night. I'm not ordering a product on Monday anyway. San Mar's closed.
You've built. This is interesting. So you've built like rules and processes on when you close. Do you also have like rules about when they open, or can they open at any time?
They can open whenever they want. We typically try to keep it, if pop store, 2 weeks or less. I will tell you 80% of all orders happen in the last 24 hours the store is open. So it doesn't matter if it's a 4-week store or a 2-day store. Everything happens Sunday from noon till midnight. That's when all the orders come.
All right, and the audio cut out a little bit, so I just want to make sure we repeat these. You have a rule that says you won't keep stores open for more than 2 weeks. Everything's 2 weeks or less, and 80% of the orders come in within the last 24 hours before the store closes.
Correct. When they get that reminder Saturday night or Sunday morning, don't forget the store closes tonight. All of a sudden, we went from having 6 orders and was this site worth it to, holy cow, we're up to 30-something orders. And my business partner's calling me. He's like, did you see order my gear this morning? What's going on?
Wow. So I love this tip. If you're running web stores today and you are not sending out that reminder 24 or 12 hours before the store closes, you are potentially leaving 80% of the orders on the board and probably creating some complexity downstream for people who miss the deadline and come back.
Correct. Then they call you on Monday and then you got to extend it to Monday and to Tuesday and to Wednesday. And then the guy who ordered on the first day calls and he's not happy because why is the store being extended over them? I knew there was a deadline. How did they not know there was a deadline? Now, One other thing that we've had some success doing is, so I printed these out and put these in our it's a free swag. So we don't spend any money on advertising.
Can you explain what that is for those listening?
Yeah. So I basically I go to numbergenerator.com. If there was 42 orders, I just type number 1 and number 42 and click enter, and it gives me a random number. I then walk out to the girls that are picking the orders and packing them, and I tell them, hey, order number 16, order number 22, and order number 27. Take those orders, whatever size they ordered on their order form, put a Your Sport piece of apparel in the bag to match that size. Put this note in there, tell them they're a winner of our random choice, and then it's got our social media info on it. Hopefully they'll tag us on there. And we've actually gotten a few orders from people seeing that way.
Wow, that's awesome marketing, and people get excited when they win something.
Correct.
They want to tell others about it.
Yeah, we actually just sent one out. We sent the wrong shirt. We printed a full digital, we printed a full color picture of a dog on a shirt as a trial, and the new girl put the shirt in without it saying Your Sport on it, put it in the bag and sent it out, and we got tagged online. The lady was like, my dog just passed away. This looks like my dog. This is the greatest shirt ever. I love you guys. It was awesome.
Wow. So all kinds of concepts, little marketing nuggets coming to you here with Erik from Your Sport Custom Apparel. Karen commented a while back and loved the concept of not really talking about the decoration method and just building that rapport and trust for you to choose it. So thanks for that feedback, Karen. We have some really good questions, but we also have some feedback. What a great upsell tip here coming to you. So we always love that positive feedback. Hey, Donald, thanks for watching us on YouTube. And here's a great question. Maria says, do you only use one media for your transfers? Sorry if you said that earlier. She had signed in a little late. So how many different medias are you using for your transfers, or what's your advice there?
So we do screen printing and embroidery in-house. Like that's where we started. We use Ultra Color Max. We use Goof Proof. We use Flex Style. It really depends on how big the volume is of the store and what the breakdown is on the logos. If we offer 2 logos and 300 pieces sell, but 285 of them are one logo, then we might use Ultra Color Max instead of wasting the time burning a 4-color screen and going through all that setup time and waste to do 12 shirts. You end up not making money in that situation, right? And it's a bit of a gamble beforehand, but we price everything. I do all my pricing based on 24 pieces for my stores. So everything's based on a 24-piece minimum, because across the platform, if we're offering the same logo to 30 items, you got to figure we're going to pull 20 to 24 out of there.
Great. So it sounds like a mix of transfer styles depending on what the best is once you collect the orders. But the ones you're using are Ultra Color Max. That's just synopsis. That's a direct-to-film transfer, usually best for 3+ color logos, but you can use it on 1 and 2 colors if it's low quantity. You use heat transfer vinyl for personalization. You use Goof Proof, which is a plastisol screen printed transfer from Transfer Express for probably your low color count, mid to higher quantities. And then you probably move to direct screen printing at higher quantities. Is that accurate?
That is correct.
All right, awesome. So that's the best. So you kind of you don't need too many choices, but a combination of choices. And then the Flex Style and embroidery are completely different looks, and that's for your higher perceived value or maybe decorating a cap or something like that. All right, we got another question coming in here. So I apologize on the pronunciation of your name, but I'm going to say Muammer or Muammer. When you offer different styles of garments, do you keep all of those sizes and colors in stock, or do you order it as people order it? Since shipping is high, if you order $200, you're going to get hit with the freight charge from some of the blank apparel suppliers.
So for us, we don't order anything until the store closes, because we have that hard deadline date. We don't order till everything closes. Order by Gear makes it super simple with their purchase orders and breaking things out based on distributors. But I will say one trick that I use is I try to limit it to 2 distributors. So I will pull items from Sanmar, or I will pull items from S&S, but I don't try to pull from both. And the other one, what used to be Pennant Sportswear, we used a lot of, but once the pandemic hit, they really cut back on their offerings, and I got turned off a little bit to it. And I've really been using a lot more Augusta and Holloway. So it's typically my basic stuff comes from Sanmar, unless I'm offering New Era or Nike or something, or Ogio or something a little nicer. And then my nicer step up is typically the Holloway product.
But in all cases, you order as you need it, and then you're kind of consolidating multiple web stores into some purchasing process to get you over the free shipping. If they all close on Sunday, that works in favor of that as well, doesn't it?
Correct, absolutely. Because then we typically hold till noon on Monday, just in case somebody calls at 10 a.m. and the president of the club forgot to order, All right, well, that's the guy we'll probably hold it for, just this one time.
Yeah, I bet, right? Just this once, and he feels really good about it too. So good. Order as you need it. Run lean. Don't hold a bunch of inventory. I guess if you always launched a gray Gildan dry blend 50/50 t-shirt, you could stock some if you wanted to, but I wouldn't go too deep in product assortment.
Yeah, no, where I'm located, I'm a day away from San Mar, so it makes no sense to stock anything.
Yeah, perfect. John gave some feedback. He loves the pricing based on 24 shirts, so you can kind of predict that because that will likely make each design a smaller order. And then I had a question that came in earlier I want to try to find and get back to, which was lots of questions. Thanks for you guys' feedback here. It was a Shopify question, but I just wanted to draw.
I just saw it just above Karen.
Yeah, it's gone for me. But I'll try to find that here in a second. But let me pop another question on here first. Forget all that. How do I get good prices and products for a beginner? I'm not rich and don't have time for a bunch of rhetoric. I need facts and products, Kenneth. So I think we gave you facts and products, Kenneth. So Goof Proof from Transfer Express is for your screen printed transfers in mid-size quantities. I'd say 24 plus, 1 and 2 color designs. Ultra Color Max is a digital heat transfer, great for unlimited colors and low quantities. Go ahead and get yourself a tax ID. Even though you're a beginner, you need to do things the right way. Set up a wholesale account at Sanmar or SNS Activewear, and that should put you on the way. And then, of course, subscribe to the Stahls TV YouTube channel. Oh, I pronounced the name correctly, too, so I won't try it twice, but I'm happy that I did.
Nice. Well done. All
right.
Well done.
Yeah. So I got the question back. How do you feel about Shopify as your website for your apparel business? I personally have experience with Shopify. I don't know if you want to take that, Erik, or you'd like me to.
No, I have no experience with it whatsoever.
Yeah, so I think Shopify is a great e-commerce platform with lots of functionality, but it's good for like your store. So if Erik was opening up yoursport.com or whatever, like to represent his brand, Shopify would be a better solution than a team store platform like Order My Gear or Spirit Sale, because then he can represent everything he does about his business. The team stores are more for client-based exclusive shopping experiences that you're setting up on their behalf. So Shopify is a great solution. Squarespace is another one. Wix is another one. There are lots of different choices out there, but Shopify certainly is a leader of the pack and worth consideration. Lots of templates to help you out and lots of apps and tools that you can plug in. So I love it. And then from a web store platform, we've talked about Order My Gear, great solution that Erik's been successful with. We've talked about Spirit Sale, which is the Stahls solution, more at an entry level, I'd say small business price point. Other ones I would suggest you research are Chipley. That's a new up-and-comer. They've been pretty great in the team sporting goods space. And then Inktavo is another one. Inktavo. And then Deco Network. So there's a lot of choices. If you go to Atlantic City show in March, like Erik went many years ago and will probably has been going ever since, or the Long Beach show, any of the Impressions shows, you're going to be able to visit these e-commerce platform booths and the vendors, look at all the features and pick one that's best for your business.
And most of them offer free demos. Go to their websites and see what they got. Use a free demo. We had Order My Gear build us our first site. They didn't charge us anything. They built us the first site so they could show us the power behind it.
Awesome. And for those who are watching this live, know that it will be recorded and it'll be in the live section wherever you're watching it, Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. For those that are listening, you're listening to the playback and can always rewind and replay to get some of these tips and take notes. I would encourage you, come to these sessions with your notebook, take notes. You're going to get great advice from apparel decorators just like you that are making it. So all kinds of great feedback here. See Graphics Pro in North Carolina. Yeah, the Graphics Pro shows are great shows as well. And then you can visit stahls.com/events. Find the ones we're going to be at. There are lots of other vendors there with us. And so you can find a lot of solutions for your business, not only in web stores, but in heat transfers and also in blank apparel, all within a weekend at one of these shows. All right. More comments than I can handle, but you guys can read them you can read them wherever you're watching from. And so any final tips before we conclude our time together, Erik, that you want to share for either aspiring apparel decorators that tune into this content, or maybe experienced ones that are looking to grow their business?
I say it every day to my people. I say it every day to the kids I coach. The details matter. The details matter. The details in the artwork matter. The details in how you communicate with the customer matter. Every little bit matters. We use the team stores as a way to get in front of more people and to sell more product, but it's also a way to advertise. So like I said, we hang tag, we brand everything that leaves. I had a guy in a hockey locker room with his men's group at 10 o'clock at night, found a tag like this on the floor and called and placed an order for his multi-billion-dollar corporation in New York City, right? You don't know who's out there. You never know who's looking. So make sure you focus on the details.
Yep, I love it. And you'll be able to focus on the details if you understand your client and if you really take your brand seriously and consider it not only just a company that does custom t-shirts, but really a brand that you want to move into the future. So, hey, you've dropped a ton of knowledge today. This has been longer than I planned for on time, but that's okay because we're dropping great ideas and advice, as Maria says. And so on behalf of all the apparel decorators that will listen to this, I want to thank you for being willing to share to better the apparel decorating community and really make people more successful in their goals. And, we're here to help you achieve your goals as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing you out in Atlantic City in March.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. It was a lot of fun. I love to share anything I can do. People reach out to me. Yeah, I'm in that Facebook group. Please send me messages, whatever I can do.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Erik. All right. So for those of you that are watching or listening, make sure you head on to Heat Press for Profit. Search that out on Facebook. It's our community of apparel entrepreneurs that share advice like this all day, every day. Ask your questions, post photos, inspire others. We are here to help you grow your apparel decorating business. So make sure you tune in every week at noon Eastern time to listen live to the Heat Press for Profit podcast. So I want to thank you for joining us today. Until next week, thanks for watching.